Alright then, let's move on, and let's talk about a bit of Changeling history, or Fae history, because we're going to talk about the time before the Changelings existed. Now, very simply, the Changeling or the Fae history, and I will be looking at my book a bit here. We are on page 33 of the 20th anniversary edition, and the reason I'm going to be looking at the book a bit as I go is because I don't want to mess this up. I want to make sure that what I do depict is accurately what happened according to the objective history that they've put out. The reason for this is that a lot of information has been posted in a lot of places, and some of it contradicts each other. So, for this series, I'm going to go with what the main Changeling book says the history is. So we're going to start out in the Mythic Age. Now, when did the Mythic Age begin? Well, quite simply they say, in the beginning. So, we will start at the beginning. It's up to you to decide when the beginning is, or was. Obviously they didn't have calendars in the beginning. But in the beginning, the Dark Fae ruled. Now, obviously humanity had to already exist, because it says that the Dark Fae were born out of the dreams of humanity's primal ancestors. So if we're looking at this, we are looking at the cavemen who are terrified of monsters and animals and death, and those terrifying dreams that drove them. Those are the Dark Fae, so they ruled. Because of the Dark Fae, a group called the Fomians, a malevolent and twisted group they are referred to as, strode across the world, wielding the magic of the gods through the dreaming. Now it says that lesser creatures bowed before these living shadows, these suffocating winds, and these walking mountains. So these were epic creatures. They were unnatural beings of huge power. And it does say that humanity worshipped them. So we're looking at an early world where these Dark Fae were born of the dreams of mankind and then created monsters that fed more nightmares. It does say then that there were in this dark time some mortals who sought a sense of security and control through nature. And it says that as these mortals slept, the dreaming listened. And the dreaming embodied these primal concepts of nature. And it says that it imbued the earth, the winds, and the fire with the ability to challenge the Elder Dark. So again, we're looking at very abstract concepts here. We're not talking about the Sidhe or the trolls. We're talking about the primal dark and the elements. These are not the Fae as we know them. This is the ancestor Fae. Now, the Dark Fae, the Fomians, became very angry with the dreaming for this betrayal, for creating these things that worked against them. And the Dark Fae began to create champions. And this is kind of the very beginning of things, because we were talking about these abstract forces, these kind of these big concepts, and then all of a sudden the Dark Fae create champions, individual champions, to fight against this threat. And they named them the Thelane. And it says that these were creatures created from the dreams of the Fomians, not of mankind. So they were unique in that aspect. They sent their champions across the land to enforce their dark decrees through blood and through force. And eventually the Thelane ran into conflict with the nature fairies. So this is when we see the positive, the hopeful dreams of mankind beginning to manifest. Now, in an effort to destroy the world and then reshape it the way they wanted it to be, the Fomians then assembled all of their magic into one place to unleash it all at once. Realizing then that the forces of nature would be destroyed by this because they didn't have that same willingness to destroy everything, they realized that they had to go all out. And eventually they chose to respond in kind, to basically chance everything to stop their enemy. And it does say that, vast forces on both sides of this died off in this conflict. But that the aftermath of this, what was referred to as the Great Unleashing, this kind of weakening of both sides, is what actually then provided the world with true life, as enough of the magic was taken out of the Fae and sent into the world that actually mortals were altered by it as well. And this is kind of at the point that mankind awakens to higher reasoning. It was the Great Unleashing that brought mankind from kind of the caveman era into the evolved era. And that's kind of the end then of the Mythic Age. So I'm going to stop this video there, and I'll be back with some more history in the next video.